Kia ora, good evening. I'm Hannah Wilkins. It's been over a week since a Christchurch real estate agent first went missing as investigators look for new points of interest. Police cordoned off a house in the Hornby area earlier in the week as they continue looking into her disappearance.
Police are pulling out all the stops in the search for missing Christchurch realtor Yanfu Bao. A property in Hornby became the focus of a police investigation related to the search on Tuesday. The three-bedroom house on Trevor Street was cordoned off by police as they carried out a detailed forensic examination. Bao, who works for Harcourt's Wigram, was due to show a potential buyer through the property on the day of her disappearance. The 44-year-old was last seen door-knocking in the Wigram area last Wednesday morning. A 52-year-old Brindwa man has been charged with the kidnapping of the real estate agent and appeared in the Christchurch District Court on Monday. He is facing charges of unlawfully taking Bao without her consent, with intent to cause her to be confined. He was granted name suppression and has been remanded in custody for 3 weeks. Police say they're not ruling out further charges. In Christchurch, the South today.
One person was airlifted from Roxburgh this week after a crash between a car and a truck. The accident left the occupants of the truck shaken up, with police reminding drivers about the importance of following road rules.
This Otago rescue helicopter waiting on the main road in central Roxburgh, preparing to airlift a passenger to Dunedin Hospital. The crew responded after a crash between a truck and a car on Monday afternoon, which closed State Highway 8. Police were called to the two-vehicle crash at the intersection of Scotland and Jedburgh Streets shortly after 12:30 p.m. It's believed the car was T-boned by the truck while coming out of the intersection, leaving the driver trapped. They had to be freed by volunteer firefighters from Roxburgh and Miller's Flat.
The driver's been airlifted out of here in a reasonably serious condition, and the occupants of the truck are unharmed.
The vehicle was passing through a give-way crossing as the crash happened, with police reminding the public of the importance of following the road rules.
For safety reasons that we have giveways and stop signs, and if people obey those, then it'll help reduce the amount of harm that we have on our roads.
The main road was closed off, with diversions in place, and motorists advised to expect delays. Investigations into the accident are continuing, with the serious crash unit having been advised. In Roxburgh, the South today.
Dunedin pubs are lending a helping hand, rallying together to show support for a popular Caversham pub. The future of Mitchell's Tavern has been up in the air after a fierce blaze tore through the establishment last month, leaving many locals heartbroken and staff without jobs.
The tragic remains of once a bustling social hub for the Dunedin community. A fire tore through Mitchell's Tavern in the early hours of the morning last month, with the incident later being ruled an accident caused by an electrical fault in the kitchen. Manager Stephen Morris was devastated by the result of the blaze, still holding on hope that his beloved restaurant and bar can be rebuilt.
It's all just waiting on all the insurance people to do all their work and come back to us after they've talked to the building owner and find out where we go from here.
The fire also left employees facing some uncertainties, but local pubs have come together to give them a temporary workplace. They're taking in staff from the tavern, offering up fixed-term contracts until the future of Mitchell's becomes much clearer.
And they've all rallied around and been more than helpful to place as many of them as they can.
Morris says the outpouring support from the local pubs and community has been heartwarming, but admits decisions on the future of the tavern will be a very slow process. In Dunedin, the South today.
Tensions are escalating among Queenstown viticulturalists as an abandoned vineyard sparks grave concerns to neighbouring owners. A Gibbston property is causing major problems in the area, with failure to take urgent action risking a train wreck for the region's wine industry.
These black vines may not be a good sign for Gibbston Valley. Queenstown viticulturalist Gary Crabb claims one landowner's inaction could impact the entire wine industry in the area. Airborne powdery mildew has taken hold in these abandoned vines, with the vineyard spanning 50 hectares. Because the vines have been left untreated, the destructive fungi is now spreading like wildfire through the air to neighbouring properties within a 1 kilometre radius. Crabb looks after 16 Gibbston vineyards and says once mildew takes hold in a vineyard, the fungus explodes in growth and can have knock-on effects for years to come.
It doesn't look too bad at the start. You think, okay, we're on top of it. But suddenly when we get the heat, and that means that all the biochemical processes speed up, right? And then suddenly come December, January, it absolutely explodes.
He says the fungus could have serious economic impacts on the region. Any grapes that contain just 2% of mildew would be rejected, with the tainted wine stinky and undrinkable. Fortunately, he says the powdery mildew can be kept under control with regular sulfur spraying. But he warns for every year it's left untreated, an equal amount of time will be needed to bring the crop back to a good standard.
But each year that you build up inoculum or spores, each year it gets more and more serious, and each year it can do more and more damage. So the idea with powdery mildew is to intervene early and intervene strongly.
Crab, together with the neighbouring vineyards, are doing what they can to persuade the landowner to take care of the neglected vines. They've contacted both the Regional Council and the New Zealand Wine Growers Association. It's suggested the concerned vineyard should spray the vines themselves, which could collectively cost $100,000, and Crab doesn't believe it'll solve the problem entirely. In the Gibbston Valley, the South Today.
A group of dedicated conservationists are on a mission trying to save an iconic yellow South Island bird from extinction. You might recognise them from the $100 note, but the mohua is a lot more common in your wallet than in the wild.
A flash of yellow in a forest of green. These native New Zealand birds are becoming more of a rare sight. The mohua, also known as the yellowhead, was once the most common forest bird in the South Island, but that was 2 centuries ago. The species is now facing a rapid decline. It's not the first time the bird has been on the brink of extinction, but Forest and Bird have been trying to build their numbers back up for the past 25 years.
Right now we have a terrible rat plague occurring in the Makarora Valley. It's quite widespread. It's elsewhere in Otago, but we're particularly concerned because we have a very good population of mohua surviving up there.
Rat plagues occur every few years thanks to the warming temperatures in the area, bringing a plethora of pests into the mohua's hard-pass habitat. But volunteers at Forest and Bird are doing everything they can to help the endangered bird, increasing traps and designing predator-proof nests for the mohua.
Predators can't get in, and hopefully over time the birds will find it and use it, or it will just be another option.
They are planning to launch a Give a Little campaign, calling for people to give a mohua for mohua, aiming to raise $20,000 before September in an effort to save the yellowheads. In Mount Aspiring, the South Today.
Whai Yakane still to come on Southern Newsweek. A sea of Orange football fans take over Dunedin as FIFA fever heats up in the host city. And Latin music and dance is taking over Queenstown for a cultural celebration thousands of kilometres away from home. Tēnā koe, welcome back. Dunedin's wet and miserable weather last weekend didn't deter Netherlands football supporters from painting the town orange. Hundreds of Dutch fans marched through the city on Sunday night, proudly showing support for their team ahead of the World Cup match against Portugal.
A sea of orange marching through Dunedin Central on Sunday, rain not dampening this parade. It was a big weekend for Southern football fans as the FIFA Women's World Cup kicked off in the city. The Netherlands faced off against Portugal on Sunday night at Dunedin Stadium. Hundreds of Dutch fans taking the opportunity to bring a splash of colour to the rainy weather.
It's a great atmosphere. There's a lot of us out here. It's very exciting, the game tonight.
That match followed Dunedin's opening host game on Friday night between Switzerland and the Philippines, as football fever takes over the south. Fans are travelling from far and wide to support their teams. Dutch superfan Peter Hauer making the 37-hour trip from the Netherlands just the day before the Dunedin game.
Yeah, it feels good. Every tournament is good, so also this tournament is good.
The Dutch supporters marched from the Octagon's fan zone to the game, grateful the covered Dunedin Stadium would keep out the rain. For Dutch Dunedin resident Youth Shooten, it was a great chance to share his Netherlands heritage with his son, who moved to New Zealand when he was just 1 year old.
It's nice to have a bit of Holland coming all the way to New Zealand. Doesn't happen too often that we get to enjoy it in our time zone over here.
The Netherlands managed to beat Portugal 1-0. Dunedin Stadium now turning around to host Japan and Costa Rica early on Wednesday night. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Invercargill's police squad has a new member, but this recruit has 4 legs and a tail. Rico, the police dog, is joining the region's canine squad and is bringing more than just a cute face to the team.
Meet the newest member of Invercargill's police department. Rico is a 2-year-old German Shepherd and a recent graduate of the New Zealand Police Dog Training Centre in Wellington. He's now under the watchful eye of Senior Constable Tom Evans. He's been a dog handler for more than 6 years, with Rico his 3rd operational dog.
Probably every little kid's dream is to, work your own dog and follow behind the dog and catch baddies, and so that's what I just wanted to do. I just needed a change from working in an office, and the opportunity came up and I was lucky enough to get it.
Evans has 20 years of experience in the police force, including as a detective and a member of the Armed Defenders Squad. He's had Rico from 8 weeks old and says the time spent raising him and training him has built a special relationship.
You spend a lot more time with your dog than your own family because you do an 8-hour shift with your dog, then you come home and your dog's still with you, so you're looking after it and running it and exercising it, feeding it.
He says the thing Rico loves most is tracking, whether it's finding a toy or searching for an offender in a trial scenario like this. And while Rico's definitely tough and serious when he needs to be, he's really a gentle German giant at heart.
He's a big dog, and you look at him and you think he's quite intimidating, but to me, he's basically still got a puppy head. And so he'll do things like he'll run around with my girls and chase a ball and lie on his tummy, get his tummy rubbed.
Police dogs are often mobilised for dangerous situations, as well as performing a range of prevention work and community engagement. Rico's arrival in Southland brings the Invercargill Canine Squad to a team of 4. In Invercargill, the South Today.
A colourful fiesta in Queenstown paid homage to Latin American culture last week, celebrating the traditional harvest season. Festa Junina aims to draw different cultures together, bringing a taste of South America down south, over 12,000 kilometres away from home.
It was a vibrant night of food and dance as hundreds of local South Americans came together at Queenstown's Memorial Centre for Fiesta Junina. The Saturday event was a joint venture between the Latin and Brazilian community. Starting at 1 p.m, it was a night filled with authentic South American food, song and dance. Fiesta Junina is a traditional Brazilian festival to celebrate the harvest season at the beginning of winter, and this year organisers have spiced it up with a Latino twist.
It's a winter party, kind of a mid-winter party that we celebrate in Brazil every year traditionally. So in Queenstown, for the first time, we kind of joined with the Latin community to make like a bigger party.
But the night wasn't only for the South American community, with the takoyaki boys also serving the traditional Japanese octopus balls.
Our aim is to invite the whole community. That's what we do. We want to share our celebration and our joy with all the community.
And those who can't get enough of the Latino dancing don't have to wait long, with the Latin Soul Festival coming up later this year. In Queenstown, the South Today.
At just 20 years old, a Dunedin mountaineer is just months away from attempting the first Kiwi ascent in the remote sub-Antarctic. Lily Green is one of 4 young explorers selected to climb Mount Worsley on the remote and inhospitable South Georgia island.
Pushing on through the wind and snow, Lily Green is training for the expedition of a lifetime. The 20-year-old from Dunedin is one of 4 young adults chosen by the Antarctic Heritage Trust to attempt the first New Zealand ascent of Mount Worsley on the subantarctic island of South Georgia. They're part of a larger team of 22 inspiring explorers, travelling south in late September embarking on the journey to honour the centenary of Ernest Shackleton's final expedition.
It's not a place many people get to go to, so that's pretty spectacular. Not many people have really gone there to climb mountains except for, a very small handful of people.
The team will be joined by 4 other climbers, including 2 of New Zealand's top mountaineering guides. Green is no stranger to the mountains, working as a climbing instructor after developing a love for the outdoors as a kid, which she attributes to her dad.
If I'd put Skittles halfway up the wall and I'd have to climb, that would be my motivation to get up. And then it just kind of progressed from there. As I got older, I got more into it.
The mountain's named after Shackleton's Kiwi captain Frank Worsley, who navigated a lifeboat 800 miles across the South Atlantic Ocean after their ship was crushed by ice. The climb begins where Worsley landed, before ascending the 1,100-metre mountain and cross-country skiing across the island to rejoin the rest of the explorers. The expedition's expected to take 3 days, with the team set to become the second group ever to attempt the climb.
It's unexplored territory, really. The only information we found out about Worsley was the French team who climbed it last, and they had one sentence about it, and it was exposed but not technically difficult.
The inspiring explorers will spend 2 weeks visiting the island and are developing outreach projects hoping to inspire the next generation of polar explorers. In Wanaka, the South Today.
There's something in the morning air in Christchurch as a community group cooks up a storm for local school children. The Aranui Community Trust is rallying together to support the youngsters, giving them a hearty breakfast on the go.
Feeding hungry tummies, these children grabbing a bite to eat thanks to Brekkie on the Go. It's a program run by the Aranui Community Trust, encouraging children to fill up their stomachs on their way to school.
We just wanted to relieve some of the pressure of maybe home life around cost and affordability of food, especially at the moment. And we always have a buzzed up thing. We've got music going loud.
However, the future of the Early Morning Breakfast initiative is under pressure. Whanatia says Brekkie on the Go is only partially funded by the Trust, who are looking for sponsors to help secure the program's future. She says it's always difficult getting long-term funding to pay for the wide variety of programs they're keen to offer.
We're on the hunt, monthly. We're hunting all day, every day for funding.
The Aranui Community Trust has been running a number of community-based programs and services for more than 20 years, from their office on Hampshire Street.
We're here, we're open, we're available, and we're credible, and we have integrity, and we're here for the community.
And she says the goal is to continue running programs that help bring the community together and connect people to the services they need.
Well, it's got to happen, It's got to happen for our people, and we advocate some of the issues, up to a high level around the needs that are required here.
The Brekkie on the Go program assists children from 12 different schools in their area, offering early morning snacks to the kids, first thing every Tuesday and Wednesday morning, helping them get their day off to a good start. In Aranui, the South Today.
Whaiakene still to come on Southern Newsweek. Otago Vaults star Dean Foxcroft gets the call up to the Black Caps after a long struggle. And a Canterbury motorhead millionaire is showcasing his large collection, sharing his passion for anything on wheels. Tēnā koe, welcome back. An Otago cricketer has just got the call up to the big show, being announced in the Black Caps squad for their upcoming tour, following on from a tough battle. South African-born player Dean Foxcroft has had an outstanding season for the Vaults, returning to the country after border struggles throughout COVID-19 restrictions.
Questions have been answered for cricketer Dean Foxcroft after his career was up in the air for a couple of years. The South African-born player now calls Dunedin his home since joining the Otago Vaults back in 2019. The all-rounder had an outstanding season for the team this year, earning him the call-up to the Black Caps for their upcoming United Arab Emirates tour.
There was a lot of emotion, a lot of tears going on there, especially my old man. He was very over the moon, and he couldn't stop crying at the same time with me as well.
But this achievement hasn't come without its struggles. Foxcroft went back to South Africa at the end of the 2019-20 season when COVID-19 arrived and shut the borders. He spent the next 2 years fighting to come back to NZ to play the game he loves, finally returning in 2022 when the borders were opened back up.
That's a cool story to tell now, and then obviously look where I am now. But that's only the start. I think there's a lot of stuff needs to happen now going forward.
He is set to take part in the 3-game UAE T20 tour with the Black Caps in Dubai next month. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Canterbury millionaire Dean Graham is planning to open up his large collection of historic vehicles and memorabilia to the public. The son of the late Mainfreight co-founder Neil Graham wants his collection to inspire people and to value and preserve motoring history.
A man cave many people can only dream of. What started out as a small project for Southland man Dean Graham quickly ballooned into a 420 square metre man cave, which now dwarfs his family home. Since 2020, Graham and partner Liana Bush have been curating an impressive collection of 29 cars and 214 motorbikes, with every item having its place.
This is madness. A little bit of an expression of my quirkiness, I think, and my collection of things that we've sort of.
Well, you've collected.
Well, I've collected and I've had lying around in lots of different areas and on the farm and stuff, and it's good to put it all under one roof.
The pride of his collection is 2 of the actual Harley-Davidson motorcycles used in the 1969 cult classic movie, Easy Rider. Graham says he's got his love for bikes from his dad, the late Mainfreight co-founder Neil Graham. Now the Southland couple are preparing to open the man cave to the public, with plans to charge gold coin entry, which will be donated to charity.
It's been 2.5 years, almost 3 years. Yeah, so we're over it. But look, we're going to have people through. We already have had people through, and we've got a lot more people that want to come through.
Sort of groups.
Groups, car clubs, motorcycle clubs.
Graham is also well known in Canterbury for his generosity in paying forward people's groceries.
It just changes people's perspective on other people.
Well, you kind of do it under the radar too.
Yeah.
He'll pay for groceries, he'll give it to the
checkout
lady and just walk out. So no one really knows.
The pair are hoping visitors will be inspired by some of the historic items on display, including one of the original Martin jetpacks. In Southland, the South Today.
A movable bike track is making its way around the Southland region, bringing joy and excitement to communities through cycling. The Joint Community Pump Track project launched in Bluff last weekend and will be open to the public over the next 2 months.
These young cyclists won't be getting dirty and muddy, wheeling around the bumps and curves of this track. Around 250 people attended the official opening of a new pop-up pump track on Sunday. Children of all ages relishing the opportunity to have some fun with their bikes and scooters. Southland District Mayor Rob Scott says it was heartwarming to see the kids enjoying the track.
You can see the kids out there really enjoying it, and the fact that it can move around the different places and almost be a testing ground for whether a permanent one can be there, or just for the kids to be able to have a place to go and hang out together and do some physical activity.
The project's a collective effort between community organisations who have joined together to bring this 64-metre long portable track to life. Organisers were thrilled with the strong turnout and hope the project will provide a fun experience for children around the region.
There was a real hole in the community in the more isolated areas where they didn't have access to a lot of recreational facilities, places to go cycling if you're a kid, places to learn how to ride, and places to develop your skills.
The portable pump track will begin a journey across Southland, with the track due to be reassembled in nightcaps in mid-September. In Bluff, the South Today.
It's all hands on deck for a group of Gore embroiderers who are stitching their way to their next exhibition. The Eastern Southland Embroidery Guild are hosting their biannual display next month, showcasing a wide range of intricate techniques.
This group of Gore embroiderers are being left in stitches as they put the final touches on their display pieces. The Eastern Southland Embroidery Guild are hosting their popular biannual exhibition next month, displaying work from members from over the last 2 years. The exhibition will be held at the Eastern Southland Art Gallery, with members pleased with how helpful and accommodating the venue is towards the group.
We're very fortunate to have the use of the gallery, who are amazing. They set it all up for us and beautifully displayed.
The exhibition will be on display for 3 weeks, showcasing a range of traditional and contemporary techniques used by the embroiderers.
And it's very varied. It depends on what the members like to stitch. They can stitch anything from cross stitch to pulled thread, hadanga, modern and traditional.
The group will also be marking World Embroidery Day by hosting a working session in the Gore Library on Sunday afternoon, welcoming people to come join in or to just have a look. In Gore, the South Today.
That wraps up this edition of Southern Newsweek. For the latest news and videos from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube and the South Today NZ on Facebook to catch our news bulletins on demand. We'll see you again next week. Mā te wā.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.